Hello, my name is Chris Dries, and I am giving a presentation for high school students about search and seizures, illegal and legal. Search and seizure is the Fourth Amendment right, and the Fourth Amendment reads the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants issued, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons and things to be seized. This amendment is the basis on search and seizures. As you're going to find out in the presentation to follow, that schools have different rights under the Fourth Amendment, and I'm going to explain some of those right now. The biggest term in that schools have that you're going to see often in this presentation is reasonable suspicion. What reasonable suspicion is that it is information that is received by students or teachers. The information has to be reliable and the source has to be credible. If the source is not credible, then reasonable suspicion does not count. However, if a student who has previous issues in the past and reasonable suspicion, even though the source may not be credible, we still have a right to search. In loco parentis, this basically means that teachers or staff or administrators act in the place of a parent. Many times schools act in loco parentis during school hours. However, this alone does not give school officials or school personnel the right to act to complete a search on a student. You have to have reasonable suspicion. In the New Jersey versus TLO case of 1985, they ruled that schools are subject to the Fourth Amendment standards. However, they don't necessarily need to have a search warrant, and the reason why they said they didn't have to have a search warrant was because schools have to act in a quick manner. Um, we have a lot of informal discipline standards, and they said that we didn't have to necessarily have to have a search warrant in order to search a person. Here are some of the prohibited items that we do not allow in our schools. Alcohol, tobacco, illegal drugs, prescription medication without a prescription. That seems to be the new hot drug item in our schools today. And the weapons, as you see on the right-hand side of the page, you cannot have any firearms, knives, look-alike weapons, or any spray devices such as mace. None of these things can be in possession of you, your book bag, your locker, your automobile. Um, and if we have probable cause to search you and we find any of these, then you're subject to disciplinary action. Just a couple of reminders. As we approach hunting season, you guys that go out hunting early in the morning before school starts, you need to remember that you can't bring your guns to school. Okay, even if it is a mistake, you didn't know that it was in there. If it's not your gun, it doesn't matter. If it's in your automobile, if it's on you, you cannot have it. Okay, the next few slides we're going to show the things that we can search as school personnel. We have a right to search a student's desk. Again, reasonable suspicion is a common term that you're going to see throughout this presentation. If we have reasonable suspicion that you have any of those prohibited items within your desk, we can search it. The item is your school locker. That's either your school locker, your gym locker. If you have a cubby, any of those things can be searched. Backpacks. There was a court case, DeSelts versus Clearview Regional School Board of Education. We have a right to search your personal backpack as long as we have reasonable suspicion. your automobile. There are a couple of different things. If your automobile is parked on school property and we have reasonable suspicion, we can search it at any time. However, if it's off of school property, law enforcement has to be involved and they need to have a warrant. If you give permission for us to search your car or give permission for the law enforcement to search your car, that no warrant needs to be issued. Personal searches. Um, these are pretty extreme and rare. However, they can be performed as long as some guidelines are met. Um, these can be pretty intrusive, but they have been performed before, not necessarily by our school, but in school systems. This is my reference page. Thank you very much for listening.